The only thing standing between you and the life that you want is not luck, talent, or timing. No, it's the story that you keep telling yourself, the limiting beliefs that you have decided to make part of your identity. Today, I'm going to help you find that story, break it down, and rewrite it step by step using a method that can rewire your brain for success. Okay, quick lesson time here. A belief is just a thought that you've practiced so many times that your brain's decided to file it under facts. And your brain, it loves what's familiar, not necessarily what's best for you. So even a painful, hurtful story like, I'm not enough, I'm unlovable, can feel safe just because it's known. But here's the best part. Brains are moldable. Through repetition, emotion, and action, your brain literally builds new wiring. And that's what we're about to do. Rewiring your brain for success using something I call the REWIRE method.
What are you doing? Where are you going?
So let's get practical. We're going to answer just a few questions to get this started. First of all, what sentences do you keep repeating to yourself? Do a data dump. Write down the ones that come to mind that you most say to yourself, whether in your own head or you say them out loud. It can be across several areas of your life. It can be in confidence, relationships, career, money. Just write down as many as you can think of. It can be something as simple as, I'm not good enough, to something like, I'm horrible with money. So give yourself a few minutes to write all of those down. And then try to visualize the cost of keeping this belief for the rest of your life. What is your life going to look like if you keep holding on to this belief about yourself? How is that going to get in your way? Now, this belief that you have chosen to focus on, that's what we're going to work on rewiring today with the REWIRE method. So REWIRE is a little acronym that I've created in order for you to remember the steps of this exercise. So the first part, R, is recognize the story, which is what we've already done. Pick that one belief that you want to work on and say it to yourself. Repeat it to yourself neutrally, no shame, no guilt. Say, I'm not good at my job. I'm not a good friend. Whichever one you've chosen, recognize that story. The next part, E, evidence check. So with this belief that you've picked to work on, ask yourself, am I like this always? Sometimes? Am I like this compared to what? This is where we need to pull evidence to show ourselves that this fact that we've established about ourselves, this belief, is not necessarily true. Because, newsflash, if it's not 100% true all of the time, then it's not a fact. Let me give you an example from my own life, because this one ran my brain for years. I used to tell myself I'm an anxious person. And you may think, oh, Natasha, that's not like that negative. But it was. It was my identity, because I had been dealing with anxiety and panic attacks for as long as I could remember. Oh, I'm just an anxious person. I'd not only thought that, but I would say that to other people. But when I broke down the facts, I realized that that statement isn't necessarily true, because 1, I'm not anxious all of the time. 2, even when I would have panic attacks, I would always find my way back to myself, even though it would be tough. And sometimes those spirals would last for weeks to months. Eventually, I would get back to myself and go back to my baseline. And 3, I knew that I was working towards understanding these feelings of anxiety and learning how to manage and regulate them. So with that evidence, that alone cancels the belief that I'm an anxious person, because I have evidence that proves I am not like this 100% of the time. So why am I making this my identity. It was just an old story that my brain kept repeating because it felt familiar and safe to me. So that's where the next step comes in. W, wiser alternative. You create a replacement thought or belief that feels real and attainable. We're not going for delusional here, guys. We don't want to be delusional. We need to be able to believe in this thought. So for me, that became, I'm an anxious person, changing to, I am becoming more resilient in moments of fear by learning to regulate my emotions, which allows me to face challenges with calm and confidence. It's believable. It's not like I was telling myself, I am never feeling anxiety ever again. I am absolutely fearless and nothing gets to me. No, because that would not have been believable. I changed it to a wording, a belief that I felt was attainable and achievable. It's empowering. It moves me towards who I want to be instead of keeping me stuck in who I was. The next step, I, is implement a micro action. This is something small, shouldn't take up a lot of your time, but what you need to do is prove this new belief with a small step. This is a small action that's giving your brain new evidence to combat that old belief. So for example, say you're always telling yourself, I'm not good with money. Well, a small action that you can take is transfer $10 to your savings account. It's not a lot of money, but it's something. But it's taking an action that is not in alignment with that old limiting belief. Say you're always telling yourself, I'm not a good friend. A small action you can take is to reach out to a friend to reconnect with them. Send them a quick text message and say, hey, just wanted to check in. I've been thinking of you. Easy. Takes less than 5 minutes. You want to prove to yourself that these beliefs are not your truth, that they are not fact. So creating that action helps you put that into motion. Next step, R, rehearse with emotion. This is my favorite step, guys, because you get to daydream and visualize a little bit. But what you need to do is close your eyes for 60 seconds and visualize yourself with that new reframed belief. What does your life look like? How are you acting? How is your future self living now that you have this reframed belief? It should be inspiring. It should motivate you. See it, hear it, feel proud of yourself. Feel proud of your future self, because that should inspire you by helping you visualize that this can be you. And the last step, E, is an environment upgrade. You need to make sure that your environment matches your new belief. Anything that can drag you back to those old ways of thinking, those old beliefs, needs to go. Put cues around you to remind you of this new belief. You can write this new reframed belief on a sticky note and leave it on your bathroom mirror or on your desk so that you can always see it every day and read it. You could put inspirational quotes that may help you envision this future self of yours. And you should also remove things from the environment that is detrimental to you. So for example, say you're not confident in yourself and one of your limiting beliefs is, I'm not pretty enough. If you're always comparing yourself to influencers, maybe go on social media and unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself and that make you compare yourself to other people. This may seem crazy, but when I was dealing with severe panic attacks a few years ago, when I was going through this I'm an anxious person reframe, one of the things that I removed from my environment was coffee. And I know that sounds random, like why coffee? Because I realized that when my stress levels were high or I was already feeling anxious, whenever I would have caffeine, it would make me feel 1,000 times worse. And in several instances, it actually triggered a panic attack. like immediately after I drank coffee. So I said, nope, if I'm going to tell myself I'm not an anxious person, this is clearly a trigger, so out it goes. And I bought decaf coffee instead. So little things like that. I also put several inspirational quotes and affirmations around my desk that I would look at and repeat every day. I still have one of them on there, and I read it every morning when I get to my desk. And it says, "You are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you know." I'll include like an example here somewhere, like a picture. But I still read it because it reminded me during that time when I was in it and struggling with these feelings of anxiety that yes, I am resilient. I am stronger than I think. So upgrade your environment. Upgrade it based off of the future you and not the old you with these limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Now, here's the thing about limiting beliefs. They love to attach themselves to your identity. They become a part of you. If you've believed something long enough, it stops becoming a thought and it becomes part of who you are. Like, I'm just shy, I'm just anxious, I just can't ever do anything right. But your identity isn't fixed. You can shift it, and you do that with proof, not perfection. So here's how. Pick a short, empowering identity for yourself that feels believable right now, but is also tied to your future self and who you want to become. Like calm leader, money maven. You can make it fun. Something that you can say to yourself and remind yourself when you're stepping in to this new identity and new belief. For me, when I was going through this anxiety spiral a few years ago, the identity I made for myself was resilient woman, because for years I saw myself as fragile, weak, like anxiety made me broken somehow. There was a lot of shame and guilt tied to it. But the truth is, resilience doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you feel it, face it, and move on. Keep moving anyway. And the idea behind creating this name for this new identity is one, so that you can remember it when you're getting challenged with this new identity and new belief that you've created. And two, so that you can collect recurring evidence that you are stepping into this new belief, this new identity. So the goal is to collect 3 pieces of proof, let's say each week, that shows you are this identity that you've created. So to challenge my I'm an anxious person belief, I was telling myself I'm a resilient woman. And so 3 proofs of evidence that I had collected during that time was I'm meditating every day to learn to regulate my emotions. I went to acupuncture, even though I'm terrified of needles, to help calm these symptoms of anxiety. 3, I went rock climbing, even though I'm terrified of heights, to prove to myself that I can do hard and scary things and succeed at it. Let me be clear with you. When I was doing this, I was in the midst of a severe panic attack spiral where I was having panic attacks almost every day. Was it fun? No. I was sleep deprived because I had insomnia since I was stuck in a permanent state of fight or flight. I was having these anxious thoughts constantly in my head. Guys, I was scared to even leave my house and drive my car because I had this fear of what if I get a panic attack if I'm driving? I was at my lowest and I still forced myself to do this because I told myself I need proof that I am not defined by these feelings of anxiety. So I kept collecting proof and proving to myself that that old limiting belief was incorrect. So whenever those old thought patterns and beliefs come back, this named identity that you created is your way of reminding yourself that is not my story anymore. So I'm gonna give you guys a little homework. Yay! Here is your 7-day plan. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen. You can screenshot it. For 7 days, implement each piece of the practices that I spoke about today. So day 1, write down your top limiting beliefs and the cost of keeping them. Pick one to rewire and focus on for the week. Day 2, write your wiser alternative. Remember, make it believable. Day 3, take one 5-minute action that proves this new reframed belief. Day 4, upgrade your environment. Sticky notes, phone reminders, inspirational quotes, unfollowing accounts that bring you back to that old limiting belief, removing things from your environment that are going to get in your way and bring you back to that old pattern of thinking. Day 5, visualize for 60 seconds twice today, you with that new reframed belief. What does your life look like? Be aspirational. Make it motivational. Do this twice, preferably in the morning and at night before bed, just 60 seconds each. Day 6, think of 3 micro wins that you've had recently that prove that this new belief is true. Day 7, choose your 2-word identity and schedule your next 3 proofs. What are 3 things that you can do that provide evidence for this new identity? Write them down and then put them into action. And if you do this, seriously, message me on Instagram or leave me a comment on this video. I'd love to know how this worked out for you and I will be cheering you on. So a quick reminder and a little pep talk for you guys. Your brain isn't stubborn. It's loyal. It's accepting what you feed it. It will always choose the story, the belief you feed it most often. So feed it better ones. What use are these negative limiting beliefs going to have for you in the future? Are they currently serving you in any way? Are they bringing any benefit to your life? I'll wait. It's honestly a rhetorical question because I'm pretty sure the answer is no, because I've been there. You don't need a perfect plan, just one believable sentence, one believable reframed belief, and an action that proves that it is possible. That's how change begins. If you don't rewrite it, you're just going to keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. If you keep thinking to yourself, I'm unlovable, and then you get into a healthy, loving relationship, that limiting belief will still fire up. It can still show as insecurities. It can still show up as self-sabotage because you will start going back to that old pattern and finding ways to prove to yourself, I'm unlovable. So that's why it's so important to recognize these patterns and reframe them, or else we get stuck repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And honestly, guys, I love you guys too much to see you guys keep doing that. If I can do it, I'm not special. I'm not better than anyone. If I could do this in the midst of like a horrible anxiety spiral, like where I'm curling up in the fetal position on the ground and crying and asking, am I crazy? Then you guys can do this. I believe in you. Limiting beliefs are tough. They're challenging because we've accepted them as part of our identity, but they can be changed. And I have faith that you can do it. And if you decide to do this exercise, let me know how it goes. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Love you guys. Say bye, Kiki. Oh, he's knocked out. Are you knocked out? Your baby.